Why do men stay with women they no longer love? Human relationships are complicated, nuanced, and often deeply intertwined with emotional, psychological, and societal forces. For many men, staying in a relationship with a woman they no longer love may seem counterintuitive, even perplexing. After all, if the love is gone, why would anyone choose to remain in a relationship that no longer brings them fulfillment or joy? However, the reality of why some men stay in these relationships is far more complex than it might initially appear. Love, while vital, is only one of many elements that shape the decisions people make about their relationships. Emotional attachment, fear of conflict, societal pressure, and financial considerations often create a web of reasons why a man might choose to stay in a relationship, even when the emotional spark has faded. In exploring why men stay with women they no longer love, it is essential to recognize that each individual situation is unique, and the reasons may vary widely from one relationship to another. Sometimes, the choice to stay is driven by fear of loneliness, fear of change, or fear of the unknown. In other cases, it may be a sense of duty, particularly in relationships involving children or financial entanglements. Emotional dependencies that have formed over years of shared experiences can also create an attachment that feels too difficult to break, even when the love has dwindled. This exploration will delve into these factors and more, aiming to shed light on the various psychological, emotional, and social forces that drive men to stay in relationships despite no longer feeling love. Understanding these dynamics is key not only for those in such relationships but also for anyone seeking to understand the complexities of human attachment, connection, and emotional fulfillment. Through this lens, we can better understand how men, and people in general, navigate the sometimes painful process of choosing between comfort and change. Emotional attachment and comfort. Emotional dependency, why breaking free from a relationship can feel like a loss of identity. One of the core reasons why some men stay in relationships with women they no longer love is emotional dependency. Over time, individuals become emotionally intertwined with their partners. This attachment can shape a significant part of one's sense of identity. For men, who may have built their self-worth and sense of security around the relationship, breaking free can feel like a loss of self. A deep emotional connection is often developed, where the sense of we becomes so ingrained that the idea of being on their own feels incomprehensible. In this way, it's not simply about love, but about a person's identity that has been built around their partner and the life they share together. The fear of loss in these circumstances is profound, not just of a partner, but of their place in the world. A relationship, even an unfulfilling one, provides structure and a sense of belonging. When this attachment is threatened, it's often seen as a personal collapse, an unraveling of who they thought they were, and a jarring shift from the life they once knew. Fear of change, comfort and fear of the unknown. Comfort can be an alluring force. The very predictability of a relationship, even if it's no longer full of love or passion, can provide emotional and psychological security. The fear of change is deeply human. Many men, even when dissatisfied, stay with their partner simply because the alternative, breaking up and facing an unknown future, is more terrifying than the current status quo. The fear of the unknown includes worries about loneliness, loss of stability, and the potential difficulty of dating again. The comfort of familiarity, even if it's emotionally empty, can outweigh the uncertainty of what life after a breakup might bring. Moreover, change requires action. The act of leaving requires introspection, confrontation, and the courage to accept new realities. Change, even when it promises future happiness or freedom, is fraught with emotional challenges, and the comfort of inertia can be paralyzing. The bond of shared history, the emotional weight of years spent together. One of the strongest emotional factors that keeps men in relationships is the bond of shared history. Years of experiences, memories, and emotional investments create an invisible yet powerful connection between two people. This bond goes beyond just love, it's about shared dreams, struggles, and life milestones that cannot be easily dismissed. The emotional weight of this history can make it incredibly difficult to imagine life without the partner. For many men, the thought of severing this connection feels like betraying everything that has been built together. The collective narrative of family vacations, anniversaries, milestones, and everyday life becomes a part of who they are, making it hard to envision starting over or losing those precious memories. This history also plays into the desire to protect the narrative. Men who have invested years into a relationship may feel compelled to protect the image of the life they've created, even if they've outgrown it emotionally. The impact of early love and how it can shape long-term attachment. The early stages of love are often intense and formative. For many men, the initial feelings of love and passion in a relationship are experienced during formative years, shaping their long-term expectations and attachment styles. Early love can create a deeply ingrained sense of connection, not just to the person, but to the concept of love itself. These early experiences of intimacy and affection set the stage for how a man attaches to others later in life. In the case of relationships where love fades over time, the original feelings from early in the relationship can create an unrealistic attachment. Men may hold on to the belief that the feelings they once had can be rekindled, or they might keep staying because they feel a loyalty to the early connection. The nostalgia of those early feelings can cloud judgment and prolong an unfulfilling relationship, as they remember the love that once was, rather than the reality of the present. Fear of conflict or confrontation. Avoidance of emotional pain for both parties. The fear of emotional pain, both for oneself and for the other person, can be a strong motivator for staying in an unloving relationship. For men, confronting a partner and admitting that they no longer feel love can seem cruel or unnecessary. They may avoid the conversation to spare their partner from the hurt of rejection or heartbreak. In doing so, they remain in the relationship to shield both parties from emotional pain, even if it means enduring unhappiness themselves. This is especially true in relationships where emotional investment is deep, and breaking up is perceived as an overwhelming emotional task. The pain of seeing someone suffer or feeling guilty for causing that suffering can lead a man to stay in the relationship, perpetuating a cycle of emotional avoidance rather than facing the difficult truths. The desire to prevent a messy breakup. A messy breakup, characterized by arguments, lingering resentment, and perhaps public drama, is something many men dread. They may believe that ending the relationship will result in significant emotional chaos. The fear of a messy breakup often outweighs the desire to leave, especially if children are involved or if the emotional cost feels too high. Men might feel that staying in the relationship, even without love, will prevent such turmoil. This mindset comes from a desire to maintain peace and avoid conflict at all costs, which can, ironically, result in a prolonged, loveless relationship filled with emotional tension. The belief that breaking up will hurt both partners more than staying together. Many men believe that breaking up will cause more harm to both parties than staying together in an unhappy state. The fear of emotional damage, financial repercussions, and potential social fallout can lead them to believe that staying together, despite a lack of love, will ultimately minimize pain. This can be especially strong in long-term relationships where one partner may feel deeply attached to the other, making the breakup feel like a betrayal. The idea of avoiding this perceived harm can lead men to stay, even though the emotional cost of remaining in the relationship may be equally damaging. The avoidance of social repercussions of a breakup, especially in long-term relationships. Long-term relationships, particularly those that have resulted in marriage or the birth of children, come with a significant social framework. For men, the fear of breaking up can be amplified by the social repercussions. Family, friends, and colleagues might judge the breakup, leading to potential feelings of shame, embarrassment, or judgment. Additionally, in some cultures or communities, divorce or separation may be seen as a personal failure. These external pressures can keep men in relationships they no longer feel love for, as they try to avoid the emotional toll of social judgment and the disruption to their personal image. Societal expectations and gender roles. Traditional beliefs about marriage and relationships. In many societies, marriage is viewed as a lifelong commitment, one that should not be broken lightly. Men, especially those who have been raised with traditional values, may feel a sense of duty to stay in a relationship even when the love has faded. These traditional beliefs often define the success of a relationship by its longevity and perseverance, irrespective of emotional fulfillment. The pressure to maintain this societal ideal of forever love can keep men tethered to relationships they've outgrown. For men who have internalized these ideals, the idea of separation might feel like a failure to meet the standard of commitment that society expects. Expectations around masculinity and emotional expression. Men, particularly in cultures where traditional masculinity is idealized, may feel pressure to suppress their emotions, including the realization that they no longer love their partner. The expectation that they must be strong and tough it out often leads to emotional repression. The reluctance to express vulnerability or admit to emotional dissatisfaction can cause men to remain in unhappy relationships out of a sense of pride or shame. In some cases, men may avoid addressing the emotional gap in the relationship because they perceive it as a sign of weakness or failure in their masculinity. Social pressure to maintain a relationship, especially when married or with children. Once a relationship reaches the point of marriage or children, the social pressure to maintain it intensifies. In many cases, staying together, for the children, is a widely accepted reason to continue in a relationship that lacks love. Social norms often dictate that children should grow up in a two-parent household, and the dissolution of the family unit is seen as damaging to the children's well-being. The pressure to meet these expectations can push men to remain in an unfulfilling relationship for the sake of appearing to be a responsible parent or partner. Fear of judgment or criticism from family, friends, or society. Family and friends, especially in closely knit communities, can have strong opinions about a relationship. Men may fear the judgment of those around them if they decide to leave a woman they've been with for a long time. The idea of disappointing parents, in-laws, or friends can be daunting. This social pressure to conform to expectations of long-term commitment, no matter the emotional cost, can be enough to keep a man in a relationship that no longer fulfills him emotionally. The role of financial stability and social status in a relationship. For many men, staying in a relationship is a matter of maintaining financial stability and social status. Divorce or separation can lead to significant financial challenges, including the division of assets and the potential loss of financial security. The idea of losing one's standard of living or experiencing a drop in social standing can be a powerful deterrent to ending the relationship. For some men, the financial comfort and social advantages they gain from being in a stable relationship outweigh the personal cost of staying in an unfulfilling partnership. The social expectations surrounding marriage often tie personal identity to financial stability and status, making the decision to leave feel far more complicated. Children and family dynamics. Prioritizing the well-being of children. For many men, the primary motivator to stay in a relationship is the well-being of their children. The idea that children benefit from a two-parent household can often outweigh the desire to leave. Even if love has faded, many men believe that the emotional stability and the family unit provided by both parents under one roof will offer a better environment for their children. The emotional health of children becomes a key consideration, and the fear of disrupting that balance can keep a man in a relationship even if it no longer serves his own emotional needs. The concept of staying together, for the kids, and its emotional implications. While many men genuinely believe that staying together, for the kids, is the right choice, this decision often has unintended emotional consequences. Staying in a loveless relationship for the sake of children can create an atmosphere of tension, anger, or apathy that children can sense. Rather than protecting the children, this decision may create a home environment fraught with emotional disconnection. Children, even if they don't explicitly understand the situation, can often pick up on the lack of affection or emotional warmth between parents, which can negatively affect their own emotional well-being. Navigating parenting responsibilities and the emotional challenges of separation. For men who are fathers, the emotional complexity of separation is intensified by parenting responsibilities. The idea of becoming a part-time parent, especially if the breakup involves shared custody,